Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Caitlin and I upload 3 times a week on this channel. Wednesdays are fashion and lifestyle videos, Fridays are my weekly univlogs, just a week of my life at university, and Sundays are my Unsolved Sundays where I discuss some sort of mystery case, true crime case, usually a murder or disappearance, anything along those lines really. So today I'm back with another unsolved one, and this one is very interesting. So one of you guys actually suggested this, so thank you so much for your suggestion. So this one is just, who is Lyle Stevik? This was a man who was found dead unfortunately in a motel room, and he's only known by his alias, no one knows who he is, so it's really interesting to discuss sort of the details. So it's not going to be super long, but it's still quite interesting to watch, so I hope you guys find this interesting, and we shall just get started. On September 17th, 2001, a man was found dead in a hotel room in Amanda Park, Washington. He had died as a result of hanging on a coat rack, and the man's identity to this day still remains unknown. Just 3 days before the discovery of his body, on September the 14th of 2001, the man checked into the motel under the name Lyle Stevik. He had listed his home address as 1019 S Progress Avenue, Meridian, Idaho. The manager of the motel recalled him having a slight Canadian accent, and she said she possibly remembered him having a backpack, but she wasn't entirely sure. He was known to have arrived into the motel when the buses were planned to stop outside, like when the buses were scheduled to stop and let people off the bus outside of the motel. But no one is sure whether that was his means of transportation, whether he arrived there by bus, whether he walked. Like, there is no way of knowing where he came from or how he arrived at the hotel. After checking in at the motel, he was given the key to room 8, but only an hour later he came back down to the front desk complaining about the noise from the trailer park just outside of the hotel. The woman at the desk, the clerk who was working there, said that the man known as Lyle gave off bad vibes and he appeared spaced. She also said that he just made her feel nervous. So after he complained about the noise, he returned the key to room 8 and was instead giving the key to room number 5. On September the 15th, the day after he checked in, Lyle was seen pacing up and down alongside the nearby highway. And then at a later point in the day, he was also seen by a number of people just hovering in the porch outside of room number 5, which was the room he'd been given access to. On September the 16th, the motel maid arrived at Lyle's room, knocked on the door, and basically said that she was supposed to clean the room. She was scheduled for a clean. He declined politely, but instead asked for some additional towels for his room. And then the following day, on Monday the 17th of September 2001, the maid once again enters his room as Lyle is due to have checked out that day, and this is when she discovers his hanging body and calls for help. Upon further investigation of his room, there wasn't anything like extremely weird that they found. Authorities discover a total of $160 in $20 bills. This money was placed inside a comment card with the words "for the room" written on the front, so he'd obviously just paid in cash, and this suggests that he had also intended on checking out of the motel. In his bin was a copy of the previous day's newspaper, an empty cup, and also a piece of paper with the word "suicide" written across it, and everything else around the room just appeared ordinary. There was a toothbrush, toothpaste, there was a coffee cup, there just wasn't anything out of the ordinary there. Investigators then looked into the address that he'd listed as his home address when he checked into the hotel. Investigators then looked into the address that he put down as his home address when he checked into the motel, but it led them to the Best Western Rama Inn in Meridian, Idaho. And members at this hotel in Idaho claimed to have not recognised the man. They don't know who he is, they'd never seen him before. A number of missing persons files have been trawled through in hopes of finding a matching identity, but to no avail. They have not been able to identify this man. So there are a few theories circulating online that have been proven to be false. So one being that he was Canadian because the manager said that she recalled him having a slight Canadian accent. A lot of people think that if he was Canadian, it might suggest why he has not been identified by a loved one or anything yet, because perhaps the news hadn't reached them, or like they just hadn't seen it on the news or anything, because it was kind of more local news. Investigators allegedly were convinced that he'd either been born in the US or he'd grown up in the US. Some people claim that he may have been Eastern European or just from somewhere else because of the description of his face and like photographs and things. So there's a lot of theories about that, but I believe investigators are virtually sure that he was American. So there are a few theories as well in relation to 9/11, because obviously it was around the same time. Some suggested that he may have been a failed terrorist who eventually committed suicide because he hadn't gone through with it, and he committed suicide through shame or embarrassment. But these 9/11 links were just completely disproven because they found absolutely no links to that whatsoever. They found no evidence of him being a terrorist or anything along those lines, so those theories have virtually been debunked. There isn't a lot of other information about this man apart from that. That is it really, but there are just so many questions about this case, and that's why I find it so fascinating. So namely, who is this man? What was he doing in Washington? Where was he before? Like, where was he from? Why was he using an alias? And also, did he actually kill himself, or was it staged? And why to this day has he still not been identified? Are there no loved ones? Why has this man whose face is made public, why is he still known as Lyle Stevik? If you have any theories, or if you read anything interesting about that case, please leave it below. If you have your own sort of theories, I find it really fascinating because it's just so many questions and so many possibilities as to who this man is. So please leave them down below, along with any other cases you want me to discuss in future weeks' videos. I hope you guys found this interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon in another video. Bye.